What's up, guys? Iceman here. So, I've been tossing around a few ideas for what could maybe be an auction house for D2R. Now, I'm not talking about the real money auction house, okay? Because I know a lot of you guys probably have a problem with that. It's kind of understandable. Of course, my only justification was over the mere fact that there are hundreds, most likely, of sites that exist that are already selling Diablo 2 items for real money. So my thoughts were Blizzard could take advantage of this and have some income to where they could keep the game up to par and keep adding to it. But let's put that to the side for a minute here, the real money auction house. What about just a trade auction house, all right, with trade only? Now, one idea, of course, before that would be, well, Ice Boy, what about being like JSP, where they have forum gold? Now, forum gold, I think, can be very practical because it helps really narrow down and optimize the trade, and everyone knows what X, Y, and Z is all worth, and you can narrow it down to a very, very simple form with forum gold, for example, or forum silver, or whatever. So that's really not a bad idea, as long as it's not artificially stimulated, like the US dollar, how they print the shit out of it, and you see prices everywhere going up, and the value of the dollar just goes down. Similarly, those things can happen with forum gold, unless if there's a set amount of gold that is basically at the beginning of the ladder, let's say. Blizzard's like, okay, we have 20 million forum gold. It'll probably have to be bigger than that. But we have 20 million forum gold, and that's all the gold that's going to exist from the beginning of the ladder to the end of the ladder. So then we'll see prices and stuff go in accordance with that. And of course, the more saturated the market gets with items, the prices for the items will start to go down. So that really isn't a bad concept. Like I said, as long as they don't print more forum gold as it's going on. In some occasions they might have to, but as long as they don't like continue to do that or just do that for the fuck of it, maybe it wouldn't be that bad of an idea. I think on JSP, to my understanding, that shit is even printed there. Like you can buy it or something, because I mean it all comes down to who's behind it, who owns JSP, who's running that shit, as to how much forum gold exists, you know what I mean? So basically, the source of that can make more forum gold if they want. Of course, ideally they wouldn't, but I don't think that's the case. I'm not all that familiar with it, but to my understanding, that shit's printed and inflated. What about this dog? What if, say, Charcy, or someone like him, was an auctioneer in Diablo, right? Like, look at my chest here. I got so much bullshit that is tedious to trade, so I'm not trading it. You know, I mean, don't we all run into this? Trading's a pain in the ass, and you don't really want to have to try to get, and even if you're trying to get an item, you know, we don't really want to have to go back and try to trade for a Saigon belt the day we decide to make a new character and we really want to run full Saigon set on them. So we keep it in the stash. What if there was a more optimal way of trading where this shit could be on an auction house? You know, just what happens is we turn in, I mean, it's easier to just hoard a bunch of shit when trading isn't optimized, because that's what ends up being the case. If you want to be prepared, you know, for a new character or maybe a new build style or whatever, or just have shit available in case you ever run across somebody in game who needs something. But what if there were an auction house that was trade only? That's right. No forum gold or Blizzard gold or whatever. No real money. Just all in-game trades, dog. I think that would be interesting, because here's how it would look. Like I said, you'd have an auctioneer kind of like Charcy or someone like him. You could go up to him and talk to him, and he'd have like an auction house tab, right? So you'd open the tab, and you'd see all this shit that people list, and you could even, there'd be a little search thing. You could search for like G-Face or something, or Shaco, right? And then you'd hit search, and all the Shacos would come up that people have listed for whatever price they have, or they'll just say, give me offer. And then you could input in a little box, you could say like, make offer on this Shaco, right? And you'd run to your stash, you'd grab a couple runes, even though this probably isn't worth a Shaco. Well, at this point, actually, it is. You go up to the little auction tab, right? And you say, make offer on the Shaco. And a little box opens up here. So what you do is you put your ist, your mal, and your in that little box, and then you say, make offer. And then maybe that offer stands for like 24 hours or whatever, to where you don't have access to your runes anymore. You can't touch them until the seller of that Shaco either accepts or declines your offer, right? And they could accept it. And when they accept it, you go over to your stash or an in-town mailbox, let's say, an in-town mailbox. You go to that mailbox, and you can then get your items that you bought or sold, and the items that you received upon sale of your item, the runes in this case. You could grab them from your mailbox and go put that shit in your stash. Would that be told? I'm curious what you dogs have to say about that, right? We already see it kind of in Project Diablo 2, for example, only what's kind of annoying is you have to go to that other website, and you gotta log into the fucking website. Then you gotta message them there, and then you gotta find them in game. You know what I mean? So this would just bring it all together and shit. Is kind of the idea behind it. And then I feel like it'd be easier to let go of some items. You don't have to be as much of a hoarder because you know that shit's gonna be in the auction house anyway. So I'll just, if it's there, I could get it if I want. I might have to pay up a little bit if I don't hoard everything, and I'm on the spot of wanting an item like this moment. But nonetheless, I could still probably get it, as long as I have adequate currency, whatever that would be. And in this case, where it's all based on trade, the currency would be like it is in game, what we see, which is primarily runes, but I mean SOJs and shit, currency. So you'll see a lot of that. A lot of the sellers would be like, only runes is what I want. So you could only offer them runes. Or maybe you'd still have the option to offer them other things, I don't know. But they could set some stipulations and shit, But what do you guys have to say about that? I'm curious. Because I think it could have some potential, man. And it would clean things up. You wouldn't have to deal with third-party websites. And at the least, just a trade. Now, maybe there would be a way to avoid real money transactions. Not just avoid them, but pretty much void their possibility of happening. Say you find items on the ground, right? Say you're running around, you find this Archon staff, you pick that shit up. It's kind of cool. It's an ethereal one, so you can make Breath of the Dying with it. Have crazy style points on a Fury Dodo or something, or Whirlwind Barbarian. Say you find this, and you're on the Ladder Realm or whatever, and you have 2 hours. And I know we've seen this kind of in Diablo 3, but not in the case that I'm about to explain. You have 2 hours to keep that shit, or to put it up on the auction house. Or to trade it with anyone who's in your game at the time. You could put that shit up on the auction house, and it'll be locked in the auction house. In which case, how the fuck would there be real money transactions? Because if it's locked in the auction house, and then you can't trade it outside of the auction house anymore, and you could put your little runes and shit in the trade window to get it if you want, potentially. How would anyone pay real money for that shit? I guess, there might be workarounds. I don't know. I'm curious what you all have to say. It's kind of just dawned on me right now. I mean, maybe the seller for like the Shaco could say, yeah, I want an L rune for this. It'll be like money laundering or something. But it'll be code language, like, not only do I need that fucking L rune, but I need $20 right now. But I don't know how that would be entirely functional. Because you could just say you're going to give them the money and give them the fucking album, they'll accept it. I don't know. There might be some workarounds in that. All right. But I know, ideally, what we like, I think, in Diablo 2 is just how it's all so open and free market and shit, basically, right? The fact that you can find anything and trade anything, and there's nothing bound to character. Even though some have commented on my previous videos how that probably isn't entirely a bad thing to consider the idea of bound on character items. Only some. Because then at least you have to work for some shit, and you can't just buy it all on these third-party websites that already exist. There might be something to be had in that, but you got to be careful. It's a fine line you're walking, I think. But shit, I mean, did Ice Dog just come up with a decent recipe for maybe getting rid of real money transactions? I don't know, man. It might make it more difficult, but I don't know. It just seems like, but yeah, if we like the entirety of the free market and shit, how it kind of is right now, in that regard, I mean, what would you guys think about them just, you know, you're able to buy shit with real money on the auction house as well? I'm curious what you dogs have to say about that, because I know I really don't like that at first glance. But the fact that it's already happening all over the place anyway. I certainly wouldn't buy any, I wouldn't intend to buy anything for my characters, because as I mentioned in previous videos, I feel like that entirely ruins the gameplay experience in a game that's all about finding gear. So I wouldn't use it for that regard. I would just use it in the sense of trading, you know, item for item, or whatever Blizzard forum gold or whatnot they might have, if such a thing existed. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about that. I mean, primarily, I'm just curious what your thoughts are on the trade auction house, trade-only auction house. Because then I feel like it really maintained the feel of Diablo 2, where it's really it's such a barbaric barter-like system, right? Where you get all sorts of weird trades. You'll trade like a Hoto and a CTA, a high CTA for like an Enigma in some cases, or a high CTA, a Hoto, like 5 ists for an Enigma. You know what I mean? You get weird-ass barter trades like that, which can kind of be exciting, because you know there are good and bad deals to be had in such a system, right? Because it's not fully optimized, like it would be if, say, there were an actual forum gold. Now, maybe that's too civilized for Diablo 2, forum gold and shit. You know, maybe the barter system is part of the appeal here, because like I said, we know there can be great deals to be had, because not everyone knows all the value of all these items. So you can find noobs and maybe sometimes say, well, give me that Burr rune for the Shaco, and they won't know how to break it down before the trade or anything like that. They won't really know the value of things. So in some cases you could get great deals. You know, things like that could occur. But yeah, I'm gonna finish up this cow with my Necro. It's been a pretty good time. He's level 84, Ice Hog. Corpse Explosion has been absolute toad in D2R. 12.6 radius right there. There's his gear. Found this amulet. Who was with me there? Alex? I think that was Alex. I was just running with the other day. That fell from Diablo in Hell. He snatched it, but he tossed it down for me. And I was totally game to take that. I mean, we both slayed Diablo. I saw the damn thing fall. I just didn't pick it in time. Poor man's Maras. Homo. The P Topaz. Bad boots. But yeah, I got this belt to help with resist. This is kind of told right here. I found this from Bale. Alright, I think Alex was in that game as well. He wanted that shit, but I kept that shit, man. Because those Bale GCs, you can roll really high life and skills on them, I believe. They have like the max potential. I think that's the allure about them. I mean, look at this. This charm requires level 83 to even use. So, yeah, this thing fell from Bal, dog. I'm pretty sure that's the highest potential item level Grand Charm you can get. So, absolute toad. But yeah, if you guys will like the video, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Become a patron if you want. Appreciate you guys for supporting the Ice Dog. A very recent patron of mine, Ryder Words. Yes. Thank you, sir, for your contribution. A very generous 5 shekel patronage. So, to all of my patrons, may peace be upon you. May your finances be blessed. And may you have many wives. Peace with you.